This is John McClung Jr. I'd like to invite you to join me every Monday, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, for Breaking Biblical Bread, where we take a word or passage of Scripture and encourage you, impact your life, and add value to your day. You don't want to miss it. Welcome to another week or Monday of Breaking Biblical Bread. And I am your host, John McClung Jr., also known as the Chaplain. And I'm excited as always to be here. It lets me know that the Lord is still allowing me to do something here on earth. And as always, we do this every Monday, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for my people on the West Coast. And as you come in, if you have an opportunity to, make sure you let me know where you are located, wherever you are in the world. And, that'll give me opportunity to send a shout back to you. And thank you for being a part of this. So, as always, we are sponsored by I Am a Testimony Apparel and Kingdom Connection Media Group. And Breaking Biblical Bread is all about uplifting, encouraging, and adding value to your day, so that you can go into the next hour or the next minute, the next day, the next week, the next month, the end of this year, because we are really moving fast. We're in the first half of the year gone already. And so each time we come on, we want to encourage you to, keep on going. So today I want to talk about something that is near and dear in some ways to me, because I have a good group of them, but there's a small group that is really this word. And I know that depending on where you are in life, there was a statement given to me that as you get older, you begin to lose them versus more than gaining them. And so I believe personally, I'm in that stage of life where I begin to lose a lot of these. And so I think you'll be able to identify with it. And not only that, you really need to know exactly what type of individual this person should be in your life. And so I want to break this down and share a couple of points with you. And I want you to think about it, because the word is thrown around a lot. And yet most of the people that you are speaking of are not this. They're at least at a particular level of this word, because there's like 4 different levels of it. And so I want to share this with you today. I want you to think about it as you go. Take notes, as we always say. Tag somebody. I see my people in the LBC on already. And so I want to talk about friends. Now, you and I know that there are people who say they are, and yet they don't know what it is, or they don't know the characteristics. So today I want to talk about 7 characteristics you should spiritually see in your friends. Because again, in my season, and a lot of the people that I know, we are losing friends more than we are gaining friends. And it can be extremely difficult, because we know that we are not on the front end of life where we can have everybody be a part of or have an investment in our seasons longer than others. Because right now, anybody that would be considered that might come along, it will be a very short season. And so again, I want to talk about a person whom one knows and with whom one has a bond of mutual affection. I want you to listen to the last part, a bond of mutual affection, which means that you and that person are on the same page as far as loving or having a passion about something in particular, or just the fact for each other over a period of time. Proverbs 18:24 says, "A man that has friends must show himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother." And so today, as I talk about these characteristics, I want you to see who's in that group, because a lot of times people who say they are that and believe that they are close to us are doing things that do not show characteristics of friends. Now, there's 4 different types of friends, and I learned this early in life. Of course, you can say other categories, but these 4 categories have stuck with me for over 50 years. And I can truly tell you that these 4 categories are true to form. There are going to be people in your life who come in for a short time, and they're going to be acquaintances. They just know your name. They don't know you. They get a chance maybe to talk to you, get some small information, and then they're gone into another season or another location or just out of your life, period. They're just passing through as an acquaintance. Then you got somebody that's casual in your life, who you call every once in a while. You have certain conversations. They might know a little bit about you from a standpoint of family, where you're from, some of the things you like, but they don't have the details that you share that are very deep, or they haven't been around for a long time. Then you have a close friend. Now, your close friend is at a different level. Close friend, you share insight or you share personal things with them. They've been around you a while, and yet there are certain things that are probably internally that you haven't released to them yet, but they're close enough to give you insight, give you wisdom, call you on the carpet, be accountable. And that friend is usually the one that hangs around a little bit longer than the other 2. And you have more confidence in them than those other 2. But lastly, you got the intimate friend. This person has been through the trenches. They've been through the ups and downs, the hills and valleys with you. They know the personal things because you can confide in them. They know the track record you have. They know what you have been up against. They've been a part of your life. They've had some great interest, and you guys have done things together. This person is the one that has been around a long time. Matter of fact, this person is the one that you could call after 8 or 9, whatever months or years, and you haven't talked to them. And then as soon as you pick up the phone, you catch up automatically because the 2 of you have had each other on the mind. You've been checking in or whatever it might be, just looking at, making sure that they're all right. You have your different lives, but yet they know you. And I'm fortunate enough to have friends of 30, 40, and 50 year plus who have grown up with me, who knows my family and where I've come from, all kind of things. And these people, we can laugh about things that we don't laugh about with the acquaintance and the casual or the close person. Sometimes the close person might get in because they should know the person that's intimate. They should know those people because you're probably in the same circle. So I just want to talk about who you should have in your life from a characteristic of a friend. Number 1, Ecclesiastes 4:10 says, "For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow." These are people that are in your life that if they go down or they have some type of issue, they know that you will lift them up. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. If you're a person that lacks relationships along your way in life, you are going to have some challenges that will be difficult. Of course, if you have the Lord in your life, he can handle everything. But sometimes you need a friend that can actually lift you up, encourage you, keep you accountable to what you should be doing, be empathetic and compassionate to you, excuse me, and yet be there when you fall. Be there when you're going through a tough time. All right. Number 1 characteristic: a friend should be faithful. They should remain loyal and steadfast despite what you're going through. If you don't have friends that are faithful, you need to check your friends or check yourself that you believe that they are of that characteristic. 1 Thessalonians 5:24 says, "Faithful is he that calleth you, who also will do it." The Lord is the most amazing friend who we should build our characteristics after. And he is faithful to us. So you need faithful friends. You need ones that you can call and they ain't always saying yes. They can say no to you from a standpoint of something you're dealing with. They can give you insight that might be painful, but you can always know that they are there because they are loyal and steadfast. And if you don't have a loyal and steadfast friend or those who are around you that say that's what they are, but they don't exude that characteristics, you need to check your friends. Number two, your friends should be reliable. They should consistently have good in quality or performance and able to be trusted. You should have friends that always come through. Now, there are different areas, of course, that you can call your friends on. A lot of people get struggled with the financial part. Oh, they didn't help me because that's a decision. But then that same friend can give you some wisdom or insight on your situation because they've been consistently good in your life, always performing from a standpoint of the need or whatever you're dealing with, and they're there and they're trusted. That's one of the most difficult things that a friendship goes through is reliability and trusting. You can always trust in the Lord. Again, the greatest friend. He's always reliable. And these characteristics are the same characteristics that the Lord has. And our people in our life should have these characteristics because they should imitate the greatest friend ever. So number two, they must be reliable. Proverbs 27:17 says, iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. And when you look at the word countenance, when you have that moment where you're sad, your friend should be reliable enough to lift you up and get you out of that funk, out of whatever state that you're in, because you have developed such a relationship as far as sharpening each other that they know when you give them a word, it's going to be a type of word that lifts them up, that encourages them, that edifies them. You want a friend that's reliable. Number two. Number three, you want a friend that is interested in who you are and what you do. If your friends is only about themselves or they want you to hear about what they're going through, that is not a true characteristic of a friend. They should be interested in what you are dealing with, what you are going through. And it should be both ways. You should be interested in them and they should be interested in you. And that means to give your attention to something or learn more about the person that's considered a friend. There are people who call people friends and they don't even know what the parents' names are. You haven't even had a conversation whether or not they have any kids or what the kids' names are, or even where they grew up at or what school they went to, what they like or not like. You have no idea from a standpoint of what that information about them is to consider them as a friend, especially one that's interested in you. Because great relationships last because there are certain interests that you have in common that can carry you a long way because you could talk about those things. Philippians 2:3 says, let nothing be done through strife or vainglory. So don't be hating, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves. Lift someone else up. Encourage who you consider a friend. Always be there. Make sure that their self-image and their self-esteem is always filled with positive things or words or actions. And then show an interest. Don't always be the one that you want them to do what you do. Be an interesting friend to do what they want to do too as well, or talk about the things that they want to talk about. Be careful who, of course, you show an interest in, because everybody doesn't have the interest of intentions or the intentions of interest. It might look good, but it won't be good. So they should be interested, give attention to you, and learn something about you. That's an important characteristic, because many of us know that sometimes the people we deal with, it's one-sided. We're always there for them. It should be both ways. And that in itself is a great characteristic. Number 4, your friend should be encouraging. They should give support, confidence, and hope to you. Now, if you don't have any friends that encourage you on a consistent basis and you're calling them that, you might want to change the topic of who they are, because everybody doesn't encourage you as a friend. More or less, sometimes they just watch you go through some stuff and don't even check on you or call you, even when they know that you're going through it, and encourage you that it's going to get better. Because that should be consistent. If you got friends, they should consistently, no matter where they are or when you talk to them, when you have a conversation, it shouldn't be a crazy conversation. It should be something that is encouraging, uplifting, add value to your life. It should give support and confidence and hope to you. 1 Thessalonians 5:11 says, wherefore comfort yourselves together and edify one another, even as also ye do. When you have people in your life, they should be encouraging and edifying you. They should have comfort. They should have compassion. They should have empathy whenever you're going through something tough. Sometimes you can have the 1 minute call or the 1 hour call. But somewhere in there should be a call that is encouraging, especially in the most difficult of times. If you're unable to call somebody or know that someone is going to call you when you are challenged or got some an issue or something that is difficult, and you're sitting there by yourself, or you are uncomfortable with calling a specific person in your life because you don't know if they will be encouraging, that is not a position you should be in. You should have someone in your life, it's known as a friend, that you can pick up the phone at any time and know that they have a characteristic of encouraging or encouragement. And you also should know that you will be encouraged by that person when you talk to them or call them. And if you don't, you got to check yourself or check your friends. Because every friend you have, depending on the level, one of them should be encouraging to you. Because that's important, because edifying one another is an important piece of friendship and relationships. Because you need it when it's time for that moment where it looks like everything is going left and not right. You need somebody in your life close to you or intimate, maybe even casual, that can call and encourage you. Number 4. Number 5, your friends should never be negative. They should encourage, they should be able to have some of those tough questions, but they should never be pouring negativity in your life. What does that mean? A word or statement that expresses denial, disagreement, or confusion or refusal. Now you're going to refuse. You're going to have some no moments. There's no doubt about it. But you shouldn't have no negative moments. There may be negative things that happen in your life, but one of them should not be a friend talking negative to you, pouring into you in a way that doesn't elevate you, that doesn't encourage you, that doesn't show interest, tearing you down. You shouldn't even be in an environment where people use the word friend and that is happening to you. Hebrews 3:13 says, but exhort one another daily. Speak positive to a person every day when you get and daily is whomever comes across your path from a standpoint that you have a relationship, and maybe even depending on the level, they just know about you. Someone has told them this is a person you should call because they are always encouraging. You can trust that in them. While it is called today, let me read that straight. Hebrews 3:13. Listen to this. But exhort one another daily while it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. The lack of encouragement, or should I say, constant negativity, will harden you from positive words, because you don't know what to expect when this has been beaten into you or poured into you by people you believe are close to you. So when a real person comes, or someone who may be on one of these friendship levels, and wants to encourage or pour into you, you are hardened, and it takes longer to receive it because of all the other negativity that you've had in your life. And some of you understand from early ages that you've had negative things spoken into you, and it has taken years for you to get over it or get through it. And even when someone who comes into your life wants to share positive things, it's a difficult thing to receive. So it's important not to have negative friends around you, or people for that fact. Because when those seeds are planted, it is difficult for positive fruit to come through it, because it comes through with weeds. And you got to sift. And it's difficult to sift sometimes, because some people can talk their way back into your life and consider themselves as friends. And yet you have had to weed them out, or weed out people who you know are not pouring positively into you. A friend should never be negative. Number 6, a friend should be dependable. What does that mean? Capable of being trusted or depended on reliably. Man, all of these come together. A dependable friend, capable to be trusted and depended upon, to be reliable. Do you, in your life, have people you call friends that are dependable? Or do you always have to struggle when you call them, or struggle to act as though you're going to call them, because you don't know whether or not they will receive your call based on the relationship that you consider a friendship? Now, the one person you can always call on Jesus, because there's never a time where the phone is on do not disturb, or it's never been forwarded, or never not answered, and it never goes into voicemail. And yet there are people in our lives that do all of those things when we call upon them, because we believe that they're dependable enough to answer our call and share with us, or allow us to share whatever's going on in our life. You should have a person in your life who falls under the category of friend that's dependable. And you can go to any one of these verses that I've already read and see that dependable is one of the things that the person should be. Especially when you know for sure that you can depend on the Lord no matter what. So a friend should have the characteristics of dependability. And then lastly, Philippians 2:4 says, look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. It's not always about you when you have friends. They need someone that can be this last thing, which is supportive, kind and helpful to someone at a difficult or unhappy time in their life. One of the most challenging and things in life is to have people, close or far, support. And it's at different stages in life that they look for it. And we look for it from people close to us. It could be family, it could be a spouse, it could be our kids, it could be just the mere fact of colleagues, but mostly we look for it from who we call friends. Now, this is a difficult one because many of us have done some amazing things in our life, and the people who say they are friends have not supported it. And I know I've had this conversation on many occasions with people who I consider intimate friends, and we talk about this. Even the Lord said a prophet is not welcome in his own space, place, home, area. He had to go to others or other places because people who are close or in your proximity or consider that they know you think about the old you and haven't been around enough to find out the new you has done or is doing some things that you should, as a friend, support. If you do not have people in your life who say they are friends and are not kind and helpful in difficult or unhappy times, and even in good times in your life, you might have to knock them down from a standpoint of what category they're in. Are they an acquaintance? Have they gone back to casual, close, or intimate? Because I believe that you, in some way, should support, whether it's say, hey, keep going, love what you're doing, been watching you, praying for you, congratulations, whatever it might be. But don't consider yourself a friend if you don't know how to support, or if you're not willing to support, or you're not choosing to. Because that, to me, from a standpoint of the Lord's characteristics, is not a friend that's close or intimate. Because our Lord is always supporting us, wants the best for us. In all our ways, acknowledge him. And he even give direction of every path and journey we're on. He wants us to be successful. And who you consider a friend should never not want you to be successful. And they shouldn't be hating when you do. And you shouldn't be tripping when they do, when you do. Just because you might get a little success as a friend doesn't mean you forget about the people that help you get there. Let me say that again. Just because you get a little success as a friend, do not forget about the people who helped you get there. It works both ways. Because everybody you know that's in your category, one of these categories, you've watched them too, even in their struggles. Even if you're unable to connect or they haven't responded, they need your support too. I laugh sometimes when I get an opportunity to talk to people I've known for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Or they send a note, man, we watching you, John. Or when I get in touch, when I go back home, I get a chance to see them and it's like, hey, we could talk about some things or cheer each other on in what we're doing. Or some people get motivated by watching what you've done or or the things you've completed, and they get motivated. That's what you want to see in relationships considered a friend. The characteristics you want to have support or be supportive. So as you move through the rest of this day, this week, this month and this year, what characteristics as a friend do you have? And what characteristics do your friends have, if you call them that? Because we are in a day and at a stage where everything is instant. Matter of fact, people today don't know how to have a friendly conversation verbally because they haven't developed a relationship or a friendship in such a way that you can talk one to one. So we have to depend, which is one of the words, you have to have dependable friends that you can call or talk to verbally and not technically. Because there are some things that can be said to you in the voice that's considered a friend where it resonates a totally different way than it coming across from the thumbs. It's important that even if it's one that's in your life that understands what you're dealing with and you can constantly talk to each other, that is a characteristic you want to have in your life. So I challenge you and I charge you to check your friends. Because even if you say, oh, I got a lot of friends, do you really? Are they faithful to you? Are they reliable? Are they interested in you and what you do? Do they encourage you whenever they're around you? Are they always negative, or bring negative words, or are they speaking positive in your life? Are they dependable, or are they supportive? Because these are 7 characteristics a friend can have, no doubt about it. They could be all of those. And if you look at the first letter of each one of the words I said, it spells out friends. Faithful, reliable, interested, encouraging, never negative, dependable, and supportive. If you can't tell me that that is the characteristics of a good friend, then I don't know what a good friend is. Because all of these characteristics are based around who I call the best friend ever, which is Jesus. And if you don't have him in your life as your best friend, you need to do that. You need to make sure you got at least one friend that has every one of these characteristics, and then a 1,000 more that you can look to and know that you will be all right when you talk to them. This is Breaking Biblical Bread. And I want to tell each and every one of my friends, whatever level you're at, that the Lord loves you, and I do too. And we do this every Monday, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for my people on the West Coast. And I'm your host, John McClung Jr. Lord willing, I get a chance to do this next week, next Monday, and share another word that will uplift, encourage, and bless you, and challenge you. Because I want each and every one of you to look at that word. Now, you may have, and of course, there's so many other, well, I shouldn't say so many, but there are other definitions you can use for a friend if you choose to. But this is a template that's scriptural because they come from the verses, these verses attached to them. And even if they wasn't, you still would want a friend that's faithful, one that's reliable, one that's interested in you, one that encourages you, is not negative, dependable, and supportive. Whether they're acquaintance, casual, close, or intimate. So again, think about who you have around you that is using that word, because again, even our kids, they say, oh, that's my friend, and they just met him because they don't know the levels of friendship for their life or the person that's saying that they're a friend. And we, in some cases, as adults, don't know it either. We just let people hang around us because it feels good to have people around us. We don't want to be alone. And that's going to be another subject. So again, this is Breaking Biblical Bread. Looking forward, Lord willing, to see you next week. This time on Monday, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Share this with somebody who might be struggling with the relationships that they have called friends. And they could use that template to see if these or the people that are around them falls in that category or has those characteristics, so they don't have to deal with losing some people that they call friends.
This is John McClung Jr. I'd like to invite you to join me every Monday, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, for Breaking Biblical Bread, where we take a word or passage of Scripture and encourage you, impact your life, and add value to your day. You don't want